statement that people have said to me. They're like, oh yeah, like people are gonna like come out of the woodworks and be like, ah, like I knew that guy. And
Sure.
I've like seen it a couple times and like, they did, and now they don't. Like,
right.
Hey, what's up? Sorry,
Hey,
my connection was whack.
Oh, no need to apologize. I appreciate
I got it to work.
this.
Yeah, I mean, anytime. What's up, Adam? How are you?
How are you, man? It's so great to meet you. I appreciate you taking time to do this.
Dude, anytime, man.
Awesome. Well, this is a podcast about you and your journey in music. And I'd love to talk to you about the new EP and all the successes you've had.
Sweet. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I love your style, man. Like the way your record sounds, like it's so cool. It's like got this total like old nostalgia feel to it, but it's like a hip and new. It's such a cool like blend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. But are you from Nashville, born and raised in Nashville?
No, so I'm originally from Northern California, up in Sacramento, and then I moved 2 years ago in the middle of the pandemic, which is like in itself, and like that move in general is like insane. But with pandemic in the mix of that, it's just like it was ridiculous. It was crazy, man.
Well, do we have so much in common then? I'm actually from Southern California. I'm from San Diego, and I moved to Nashville in February of last year.
Dude, I'm in LA right now. It's like an hour away or two. I don't know how far.
Depending on the traffic. It's not bad. It could be an hour to 2 hours. Yeah, that's crazy though. Okay, so you were born and raised in Sacramento then, and then you didn't move to Nashville for up until a couple of years ago. So what was it like growing up in Sacramento?
It was great. I mean, it's like city and then farmland, and then like outside of the farmland, it's just a bunch of, very suburban, like classic movie suburban towns and all that. Mm-hmm. And I lived in Sacramento County, and so I was up about 30 minutes north of Sacramento in a town called El Dorado Hills.
Okay.
And so it was like very suburban area, like with like 2 high schools, that were competitive.
Sure.
It was nice, man. It was a good area to grow up, and everybody kind of, went to the same, elementary school and middle school together, and then high school. And it was sweet. So you kind of grew up with everybody that, lived there, which is really cool.
Sure. I mean, how far were you? Because Sacramento's fairly close to what, like Tahoe and stuff, isn't it? Lake Tahoe, or not really?
Yeah. So the town I lived in was like an hour away from Tahoe.
Okay,
so it was
cool.
way closer to Tahoe. Yeah. So I was like, 20 minutes from Placerville, if you're familiar.
Yeah, I lived in the Bay Area for about 5 years, and so I went up to Tahoe only a few times, but I remember I think we drove through Sacramento or close to Sacramento doing it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a cool spot. Did you guys go up there and like snowboard or anything?
I have never snowboarded. I'm not like a big I'm not a big
extreme
like
sports guy.
Dude, I wish, man. I feel like shaking my buns on stage for 45 minutes and like slamming my knees on the ground is enough physical anything for me.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So I can get injured like plenty doing that over snowboarding. So
right. I just figured, I didn't know, since the mountain was close, like in San Diego there's a mountain, the Big Bear Mountain, which was about an hour and a half, so a lot of people I knew would go there and snowboard. I personally didn't, but I didn't know if it was a similar like commute as far as like people going up there and doing that.
Yeah. I'm familiar with Big Bear. It's a great one. I think I went up there one time for like just like down, like there was like a hill, and like I got in like a sled and like sledded, and that's
there you go.
That's as far as that went. Yeah.
Rad. Well, how did you get into music? Do you come from a musical household?
No, not at all. I think there were, every time, I ask this question, I have to like pick through, and there were only 3 people that, did anything musically in my family. I had a great grandmother who sang, apparently, a great grandfather who played on the radio one time, and then my grandpa, he used to like write and sing and play for us like all the
Oh,
time when we would
cool.
go and visit him in Oregon. Yeah, and so there was like that was kind of my introduction into music, you know, and just like it wasn't even the singing part of it at all. It was like just being impressed by like the musicianship and like just
Mm-hmm.
watching him play and you know and how he would move his hands across the fretboard and just how like effortless it was. And I think for me that was like just the I don't know, like it was the thing that like kind of pulled me into it, you know? And yeah, because like I mean singers are great, but like watching someone play really well is like impressive in itself, you know?
Sure.
And so yeah, so that was kind of the only thing I had growing up. And then my other grandpa, you know, he had like this large lot of land in San Jose. And
Mm-hmm.
so he was like up the hill. And so he had just a massive farm and two barns on either side of this farm where the house was sat right in between.
Oh, cool.
And in the barn on the right, um, there were just like thousands of boxes full of LPs, double LPs, test
Wow.
prints, like
Oh, wow.
45s. And he'd been collecting them for a number of years because he would, I mean, like stations back in the day, you know, when they were done playing a record, they would just throw it out. Like there'd be no
Yeah, like the
reason for
radio
them to keep
stations
it.
back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he would go to those radio stations and just grab a random box and take it with him.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and so he at some point during the week-long trip that I'd be up there, he would send me out and have me pick through vinyl. And I'd pick anything from Elvis to the Platters to Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Jimmy Durant, Dean Martin, all these big crooner and you know, 5-person groups.
Mhm.
And that was it growing up. That was what I had. It was just
Those vinyls.
guitar playing
Yeah.
grandpa and vinyl, and
Yeah.
that's it, man.
Did your grandpa kind of watching him do that drive you start playing guitar?
Yeah. I mean, it was like there were other dumb influences too. Like there was this girl in my middle school, uh, or no, sorry, excuse me, elementary school. She used to play classical guitar like extremely well, and it was so good, and I was so bad that it like angered me to like want to be that great. And so it was like a weird like jealousy thing that like pushed me to want to play guitar. And then I like grew up in the church, and
Mhm.
so watching like gospel music growing up and watching, you know, the band play on Sunday mornings like really like drawed me into, and like watching people get impacted by a feeling, you know, for music. And there are a bunch of different weird things, but like yeah, that kind of all came to be. And then I started playing guitar. And
How old are
uh
you when you started playing guitar?
oh Jesus, I was like 14, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you start playing, did you want to learn like classical guitar, like the finger picking and all that, or is it just like, oh, that's cool that she can do that? I just want to learn how to play guitar.
Oh yeah, no, it was just like I just want to play guitar. Like I just want to be able to make sounds with this thing and have it be good.
Mhm.
It was like independent radio, you know, like back in the day
Oh
when
yeah,
like Cage the Elephant and Foster the People were like hitting the ground running, like
sure.
really hardcore. With like the God, yeah, just like they were just great. And so those and like Fun. You remember that
Yeah.
band?
Oh yeah,
And
man.
yeah, so like all of these bands were getting like double played on, you know, independent radio like multiple times a day.
You were in
And
Sacramento. I did radio for 17 years. It's interesting to
oh
hear
dude,
you talk about radio. I was on
oh
Live on the
yeah,
Five up in San Francisco for a while.
oh
Um,
shit.
yeah,
That's
I
sick.
and that's when those bands are doing stuff. Like Cage the Elephant had no Ain't No Rest for the Wicked had just came out, and like
Yeah.
Foster the People, Pumped Up Kicks was like new at the
Oh
time.
yeah. Dude,
So
I
that's
remember, I
crazy to hear that.
swear to God, I have the most distinct memory of hearing Pumped Up Kicks on the radio and like pulling up my shitty Dell computer and like typing in, like, because I used to watch music videos all the time. Because like I love just the visuals with the song.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and like freaking like they just hadn't released it yet. It like wasn't a thing because it was like just put out on the radio. And and yeah, and so like listening to songs like that growing up, and like other songs I'd find because like I didn't have access to Apple Music or Spotify back
Sure.
then, and it wasn't like a big thing, I feel like. And so, yeah, so radio was great.
Were you playing, or were you learning songs, or aside from those type of bands, like did you write your own music at that time, or were you thinking about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start writing to like seriously, like taking it very serious till my freshman year of high school. Because I feel like there's not a ton to say as like a middle schooler. I feel like,
sure,
you know what I mean? And like you get into high school
lived.
and you haven't really. I mean, you've had like your melodrama moments, or just like, oh, this is like the peak of like pain in my life, like,
right.
But then you get to like your freshman year of high school, and you go to those first dances, and you meet that girl for the first time, and you're with people who are older than you, who've experienced life, and then I don't know, even that in itself, like high school, like there's like a very specific like list of information that you retain during that time. And then you get out of high school and there's even more shit that you have to deal with. Right. But yeah, like I mean, I was writing like songs about the first girl I ever laid eyes upon. I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna make her my muse for 3 months, and then you meet somebody or they break your heart and you're like, oh, that was the worst. Like,
sure.
So well, yeah.
Did you like, when did you realize you could sing? I mean, you have an incredible voice. Is that something that just kind of came naturally when you started playing guitar?
Oh geez. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I honestly, like, I was singing like when I was really little, and just for fun, because like music was just fun for me growing up. And I think it was just like I think this is a universally felt thing where it's like you don't feel like you're that great until like something like validates it in like a pretty grand way.
Sure.
I feel like for me, like I was just kind of like, music just became this like extremely convicting thing where it was like that was the only way I could convey how I felt, and so I had to be good at it. Like I could not be bad. And yeah, it was just like this just refusal to like be bad. I was just like, I have to be good at this. And so I feel like I definitely sucked for a really long time. I feel like I'm pretty all right nowadays, but I feel like in those early years I was really, really trash. And then I feel like that's for everybody though. You know? I don't know.
Well, what was that validating moment that you was like, okay, or did that come much later with the success that you've had currently?
I don't know, man. Well, actually, maybe my statement that I just said isn't that true. I think it's a lot of different moments. You kind of just like, you have something like you get to experience, and like an opportunity that you get to live through, and you're just like, oh, like that's kind of cool. Like, I feel like if I was bad, I wouldn't have gotten to do it.
Right. Yeah. So what would you say, like,
you know what I mean?
When you start writing songs, and are you showing people your songs yet? Or like when do you start doing that? And then how does that kind of lead into you eventually moving to Nashville?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I think like, oh geez, that's a great question. I think obviously in the earlier years, my parents were like very supportive and encouraging of me and my songwriting. And so they were doing everything they could to financially support that as well. And so, I mean, like
awesome.
My mom bought me a guitar when I was growing up, like a Gibson J45, which is like,
you still have it?
I don't. I passed it down to somebody who I care about. Like
that's all that matters then. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
still around,
and they wanted to start writing and singing too, and so I was like, man, like I have to. Like I feel like this should be something that.
Yeah, that's cool of you. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so no, you're cool. And so there was that, and then like I'd get like different opportunities. I got to open up for Ben Rector in my hometown when I was growing up.
Wow.
Now this is like pre any sort of like label or like songs doing anything or even music being released. And so I got to do that because like I won like a singing competition or whatever in my hometown that they had. And I think it was just up until, like when TikTok, became a thing, and like I'll never claim to be a TikTok artist in any way. Because I feel like everybody kind of is like, no one wants to give the full credit to TikTok for like the hard work they did behind the scenes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, but I do give a massive amount of credit to TikTok for just like putting me like in front of the right people, because like everybody started jumping on that. And I mean, that was until like like the start of my junior year of high school, you know, and it was like summer, and Lady by the Sea became a thing. And I think once that became a thing and I got connected with my previous manager, who then sent that song out to labels, and all of those labels wanted to meet with me, like that was kind of that moment of, oh shit, like this is like,
this is happening.
I might be all right. I might be all right for this. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out for it. We'll see. And then,
but before that, you had the viral moment though with Cage the Elephant, didn't you? Or was that prior to that, or is that after?
Oh yeah. So that was that. It was like that little nugget. I feel like, because I mean, TikTok was so fresh. Like it was so fresh. Like people were like just getting on it like that year.
Because this is like when the pandemic hit, or no? Before pre?
Oh yeah, pandemic just hit.
Okay.
And then everybody was home, and so this app became like a
it was insane.
Stronghold for people.
It was like a dance challenge thing for like a minute, right?
Yeah,
and then it turned into this music
like,
discovery thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think everyone was like stoked about it beforehand, and like that's what it was. And then everyone just got stuck at home, and it was just like, oh, we can do whatever with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know, but like just to have, you know, a lot of different people want to talk to me about like music and my craft and like want to work together, like that was extremely validating early on. And I think like really intimidating too, because like, you know, it's one thing to like want to do have music be your career, and then to like realize how big the shoes of your heroes are, and to like feel like you can fit those, like that's wild. So
yeah. But I mean, like you said, you don't want to give too much credit to TikTok, which I understand, because you obviously been doing this for a long time and you have a ton of amazing songs. And it's like when you get the moment like Cage the Elephant and it blows up for, you know, was that kind of your first viral thing that happened?
Yeah, it was the first viral thing, and then it went to Lady by the Sea, and then from there it went from Hold It While You Can, and then we started making the record because we signed with Republic, and then months and months after that, you know, Until I Found You became a thing. That exploded.
No, we'll get to that point. I just want to just because I'm curious, like, and I just want to say too, like, yeah, you had that Cage the Elephant thing happen. A lot of people might have a viral moment with a cover, and then nothing follows up, and then you put out Lady by the Sea, and then that lands, and it's like your own song. So I feel like you aren't really giving credit to TikTok, because there's so many people that have had a half of a second, you know, viral success, and then there's nothing to follow it up. Like you've continually followed that up with more and more and bigger until, you know, the recent one, which was, I mean, you know, you have like over 200 million plays on the song. I mean, it's insane.
It's wild, man.
like,
that's validating in itself too.
Right. I mean, so like Lady by the Sea hits, that must have been a totally different feeling than having the Cage the Elephant one land, because it's your song, right?
Yeah. I mean, I watched it and you know, it's funny too. Like I just kind of, it wasn't a song I was emotionally tied to in any way. I was just like, this is cool. Like, I'll just post this because this is something I just wrote. And then it just went and just became its own thing. And there was like a minute there where like we released it and I was like, I freaking resent this song. Like, why'd this have to be the one that did it? And then because it just didn't mean, like, it emotionally, like I was like disconnected from it because like it didn't mean anything to me when I wrote it. And then like over the years, like seeing people like connect with it, I think that's a cool thing too. Like it, you know, I feel like for some songwriters, that was like a very rare case for me personally, but I feel like for people who write songs for the sake of just writing them, you know, to have people like give them meaning and like purpose is like, oh, it makes you love the song. I feel like, you know, a lot more. Yeah.
And you were in high school when this is happening? You were a junior in high school? Is that what you said?
I was junior in high school.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, aside from like being a kid in school, in high school, I guess you were at home with the pandemic, but to see this thing happening where people like, you know, oh, like I know Stephen, like kind of trying to hit you up just on that side of things, just because of the success you're having, like via like an app that everyone wanted to gain some sort of like viral success from.
I mean, sort of. I feel like nowadays, like now it's very much like a, oh, hey, I know this guy. Like I had somebody like put me on their story from like 6 years ago and be like, this is just evidence that him and I knew each other. And like, I was just like,
you're like,
oh my word. I'm like, oh God. But it's cool. I mean, it's like, I grew up with all those people and like,
sure.
It's totally cool. But it is funny. Like it's definitely like a true statement that people have said to me. They're like, oh yeah, like people are gonna like come out of the woodworks and be like, like I knew that guy.
Sure.
And I've like seen it a couple times and like, they did, and now they don't. Like,
right. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So like, okay, so after that song hits too, and then that's when the labels start coming, or that's when you started kind of reaching out to people. You had a manager you talked about at that point.
Yeah.
And then when do you end up moving to Nashville? Like, did you graduate at high school at that point?
So like, I'll lay it out. This is exactly how it went. So I post the song in May. It goes viral. Get connected with the manager late May.
Okay.
Sign with that manager. 2020.
Okay.
Sign with that manager. Oh wait, no, this may have been 2019. Oh God. I don't know. Yeah,
well, the pandemic would have been 2020.
Yeah, it was 2020.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
and so no, you're okay. So 2020 happened. That song goes viral. Get connected with the manager. Manager flies me to New York 10 days after we meet. We record the song, send the song to every label known to man. 35 labels come back. All of June, we just have meetings with every label ever. And then July, we like go whittle it down to like 5. So it's like Columbia, Republic, Interscope, and
all the heavy hitters.
Like RCA, Elektra. And so we're doing that. And then finally we land between Columbia, Interscope, and Republic. Ended up rolling with Republic August 5th. We signed with Republic. Take that month, pick a producer, land with Ian Fitchuk and Konrad Snyder, who have worked with me ever since.
Yeah.
And with everyone. Jeez Louise. And then we record the EP in October, finish it in December. I moved to Nashville December 5th. And then I'm
2020
of 2020.
Okay.
And so I'm there, and then, keep making music and that whole thing. And then we release it the following October, this last October. And then I write Until I Found You in the summer of last year, release that in September. Yeah.
Game changer. Well, not game changer, but just, to follow up the success, like you have this EP out and you sign this big, you have a deal with a major label. Are you confused, or not confused, but are you concerned at all with like following up that success? Like, oh, is the next thing going to hit? Like, am I going to be able to continue? Or was that not even a thought in your mind?
Oh God, not at all. I was just concerned about making sure that like what I was saying was true,
I love that. Yeah.
I feel like that should only be the concern for like an artist. Like, of course, like you want to be able to do this for a long time, but like, if you're not saying something that's true, that people can, objectively look at and like, I don't know, like make tangible within their lives. Like, what's the point of doing this thing? Like I would rather fail at this thing and like have said everything that's possibly true about like the love in my life or like moments in my life, than to like write something that is just a hit and I like don't believe what I'm saying,
Sure.
And be like successful at that, but I'm glad that it's that happy medium where it is true and it is doing okay.
Right.
That's always good. So yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing about TikTok too, and just your music in general, that what it lands with people is it is authentic. People can sniff out if it's not an authentic, thing. Like I feel like that's what really blew up with TikTok, is just the behind the scenes kind of like, oh, this person's being real. It's not just like some attempt to write something that people are gonna like or whatever, like a pop song or something like that.
100%. Yeah.
So when you put out Until I Found You, you put that up, and does it go like quick? Like, is it like, okay, I'm going to put this piece up and then it does well fast, or was it kind of like a slow burn?
It was a really slow burn, actually. Yeah, I was like, I wrote that song about my ex-girlfriend, and at the time when it was released in September. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. When we recorded it together, she did the background vocals on it, and like obviously her name is in the song, and I wrote that for her. And then when I released it, we had already been broken up for about a month, and so I was like in complete distress, like having to advertise that song for like 5 months, and it was just like at this horrible standstill. I think like, yeah, because it was September and then October and then November and then December, and finally it like started to move a little bit and like became like a trend for a moment, and then it kind of died out, and then it like really went out of nowhere. Like I don't know what it was, but as TikTok does, people create trends, and then it does this thing, and then people make different sounds and like a different, a slowed version, then a fast version, and then all these things started just happening with the song, and it just kind of, it went from like 20,000 a day, and then it went to 50. And I was like, oh shit, like this is huge. 50. Oh my God. I've never seen that number before. Oh my God. And then it went from 50 to 80. And I was like, oh my God. And then it went to 150, and then 200,000, and then 300,000. Then it hit 1 million. And I was like, this is going out of control. And then now it's at like 2.2 million a day, which is just dumb.
Man, that's so dumb. Wild. That's so amazing, man. Like I can't even imagine to see those numbers. Just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. For me, I'd feel like it'd be like a slot machine, like I'm gonna watch this. Okay, let's see what it's at now. Let's see what's at.
No, dude. It's like it's the greatest and worst, visual for an artist to like look at their numbers and be like, when it's doing well, you're like, yeah, and then when it goes down, you're like, no,
what happened?
Like what happened here? It's cool.
Earlier you mentioned how you love like music videos, how like the visuals go along with the songs. Like, is that something that was important to you with when you put out a song or something like Until I Found You, like the video for it? Was that something you spent a lot of time on?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think like I'm a big visual person when it comes to songs. And I feel like it's even dangerous sometimes, like, because like visuals can pull you into a completely different feeling with a song. Like, like you could, I mean, if you're listening to, I don't know, Stand By Me, and you're looking at like the beach, like you're going to associate it with the beach. And like, you're going to think about like a scenario where you're on the beach, and like, you're going to soundtrack that visual, like with the song, And so I think with, cover art and like anything that like video wise has been released, like the Until I Found You music video, like I really wanted to make sure that it brought people back into that old time, and I feel like that was extremely important. And even like to go as far as like the color treatment of it, like we referenced like the color palettes for Singing in the Rain, and like that whole like pastel, like extremely like bright contrast, like and saturated vibe, of that movie, and then applied that to, the colors of the music video, so that it truly did feel like it was like a music video filmed and shot like in the 1950s. And I think that was like the most important thing, and I think that will always be like a very important thing to me for future stuff. So
that's awesome. Well, the EP didn't come out very long ago, and you have a big tour coming up, but are you constantly writing? Like, do you have a bunch of songs already in the can, like waiting to come out?
Yeah, there's a couple in there. I think right now it's kind of just, I'm just trying to figure out what that looks like. Because there's a couple different, like, it's exciting because there's a couple different avenues in which this debut record could go. And I think it's trying to find like a way to make the directions feel cohesive, And I think with this last EP, it ended up being cohesive thematically, but sonically it felt entirely all over the place to some degree with some of the songs. And so I think, yeah, I'm just interested to see like what that's going to look like. But yeah, there's a lot of songs being written before this tour, and a lot of them are in the can, and they're going to be really great.
That's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on all this and the tour and everything coming out. And I appreciate you taking time today to hang out with me. This has been so much fun.
Dude, thanks for wanting to talk to me, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. You said you're in LA now. Do you still stay in Nashville, or are you in LA permanently?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. So I'm still living in Nashville. I'm just here like going to the beach.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, just taking a breather. Yeah, you know, like
getting out of the humid rain.
Dude, yeah, man. Yeah, getting into the hot, dry smog, like that's even better.
There you go. Awesome, Stephen. Cool, dude, thank you so much again for doing this. I have one more quick question before I let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Dude, yeah. I mean, write what's true, because that's what people care about. And like, just make sure like you hold on to your words like with conviction, and make sure that, you know, you keep your emotions entirely in mind when you're writing your songs.